Listen in to ESPN and hear the Bears' great story. He'll tell you all you need to know, the good, the bad, and the glory. It's ESPN for sports, 24 hours of every day. They tell all about scholars and athletes on a show called SSA.
Oh, hey, you're about to experience a football game. The way small-town America experiences their games, a town like Carencro, Louisiana. You're about to get all of the taste and the excitement that a small town has when it develops a love affair with its high school football team, all the way up to opening night. It's a SSA special, and it's small town, big game.
SSA is brought to you by Coca-Cola Classic. Always the real thing, always Coca-Cola. And by McDonald's. What you want is what you get at McDonald's today.
Carencro football over here is tradition.
One big family.
I think it's a very important part of the community. How Carencro football goes is sometimes how the year goes in the community of Carencro also.
You know, the pace in a small town here in America seems to be a little bit slower. The people are a little more laid back, a little more easygoing. That's certainly the case here in Carencro, Louisiana. That is, unless you're talking about Carencro football.
Y'all got to remember that you're in South Louisiana. Football is important to everybody down here.
Down here is in the heart of Cajun country, where life is a spicy gumbo of music, food, and football. And they love their football in Carencro.
How many people are in Carencro? I've heard like 5,000. Is that right?
Pretty much. It's pretty rough average.
And how many who show up to your games?
About all of them.
They come to the stadium known as the Crow Dome to see the Bears of Coach Mac Barousse, the 1992 Louisiana State champions. This season, Barousse and his Bears are ready to continue that winning tradition, ranked #1 in 5A.
Good job, Cormouche!
This is great. It's a whole bunch of pride that you put inside yourself, and you work harder to be the best team and be the best player you can possibly be. And it's just an honor playing for Carencro High School because of the tradition.
Good job, James.
Frank Barousse coached football in this area for 35 years. Now he watches his son teach a new generation of talent. He remembers when victories weren't as plentiful in Carencro.
I used to be at Lafayette High, and we played them every year, and we'd laugh.
0-10, your freshman year. What about your sophomore year?
0-10.
And what about your junior year?
It's a broken record.
All right,
0-10.
and then what happened your senior year?
We won 3 games.
And you guys felt good.
No, they're not laughing. There's no more laughing.
We went from no team to losing almost every game to state championship.
No doubt about it. It's helped the whole community. When we went to the state championship in '92, it brought the whole community together. I care about the school, I care about the community, and I love the team.
You see Jimmy Brasseau's love for Carencro football in the sign outside his service station. You see it in the bear paws painted on his driveway. And you hear it in the poetry of his wife, Catherine.
I just went walking around the Crow Dome just the other day. I wanted to talk to the Golden Bear to hear what he had to say. I asked him how his life had been with all the hype and glory. And he replied, "It's been just fine, but you know all that story. But it's time to look ahead," he said, "and see how things unfold. All teams want to be where we are. That's the story that I'm told. We'll have to fight to keep our crown. We'll have to beat them all, for the road to the top is narrow, and the space at the top is small."
The ring, this is why we run 25-40. This is what we run 25-40s for.
Hold up. Coach, the backside in is come free every play the whole day.
You expect the kids to be intense. The coaches have to be the same way. We try to coach that way and act that way on Friday nights, and usually our teams play with a lot of intensity.
Intensity. hard work, tradition. Every Bear knows that these are the ingredients that have bonded a town and a team into a football family.
We have the color barrier, we have the religion barrier, we get along with everybody. Each and every one, there's a lot of harmony.
Yeah, it was like a big family for me over here, you know. This is where I really grew up at, you know. It was like one big family over here.
Other than my family, Carencro football is my life. These guys are like my brothers, and every one of the players is like a son to me. I have one little daughter and 60 sons. That's Carencro football.
Well, as you can see, the town is now ready for the big game, and the field itself continues to be prepared for Friday night when these lights will come on and the entire team will be under the spotlight. However, talk to anybody in the small town of Carencro, and they'll tell you that the town expects the light to shine brightest on one Bear. He's about 5'9", 195 pounds, and happens to be one of the top-ranked running backs in the country. His name is, well, you know, actually, we're going to take a commercial break, and when we come back, we'll introduce you to the biggest Bear of them all on our SSA special, Small Town, Big Game. Yeah, the countdown continues to the big game here in Carencro. Everybody is talking about it. In fact, all you got to do is pick up a paper and read the headlines. Everybody wants to talk about Carencro football and Kevin Faulk. Oh, who's Kevin Faulk? Heck, he's made the front page. Faulk makes Bears top 5A team. He is their all-everything wonder back. Kevin Faulk. Look, can't read the copy? It's all right. We'll fill you in.
Okay, tonight, 6 o'clock.
All right, the first thing we want to clear up is that Kevin is not related to that other Louisiana native, you know, Marshall Faulk. A lot of folks think they are related, but Kevin says it just ain't so. But in addition to having the same last name, these two Louisiana lightning rods have something else in common. Flat-out explosive speed. And in Kevin Faulk's case, it comes in a 5-foot, 10-inch, 195-pound package wrapped in a 4.35 40.
When did you have the dream?
Well, my dream was when I was about 10 years old, my first time I was playing football. Because I seen Walter Payton playing on TV, and ever since I seen him that one time, I always want to be like Walter Payton.
Yeah, he sure does run like sweetness, but in Kevin Faulk, you have more than just a great running back.
Come on. Quarterback, tailback,
Kick return, free safety, cornerback. He can play it all, and he has played it all for us. And very unselfish player. He plays where he helps us win and doesn't ask any questions about doing that, so that makes him special also.
But special doesn't even begin to describe what Kevin meant to the Bears last season. To put it simply, Kevin Faulk was unbearable for the opponent. He had close to 4,000 yards of total offense. 4,000. Check out these stats. 2,100 yards came via the rush. Every time he touched the ball, he carried it almost 9 yards. He crossed the goal line 28 times as a running back. At quarterback, he passed for 1,000 more yards and 7 more TDs. And on returns, he racked up 800 yards. But even with these numbers, Carencro's biggest Bear can't believe he's regarded as one of the nation's top 3 running backs in high school.
Yeah, it really surprised me a lot. Being from a small town like Carencro, being one of the top running backs in the nation, yeah, it surprises me.
Beautiful dream, okay? A lot of mornings, especially on Friday mornings during football season, my wife makes me get up about 3, 4 o'clock in the morning when the papers come out. I got to run and get a paper because we know his picture's going to be in the paper or something going to be written about him.
But his coach says Kevin's talent comes from hard work, especially in the weight room. He can bench press 385 and squats 500. He could squat more, but that's all the coaches will allow him to do.
Well, the thing that makes him so special, we talked about this earlier, is that he has such great work habits. And, you know, the thing that separates the good from the great are the ones that are willing to go that extra mile and do the extra thing. And Kevin is just very goal-oriented. He works extremely hard. And he knows what it takes to put him over the top. What really sets him apart is his upper body strength and his explosiveness. Yes, I think that makes a big deal. And, you know, Coach Corville described him as a type of runner. He's kind of like a Emmitt Smith cross with a big back. In other words, he has the slashing moves, but he also has the power to go along with it.
Okay, so we now know Kevin Faulk looks good on the field. But before he hits the gridiron on Friday night, there are a couple of other cuts and slashes number 3 has to make off the field to look just as good.
To the drummer, get wicked. Move your body. Move your body. To the drummer, get wicked. Move your. To the drummer, get wicked. Move your body. To the drummer, get wicked.
Now, that's what I call a cut. Sometime in the very near future, Kevin Faulk will have to decide which college he will attend. He has a 2.8 grade point average, and he's 1 point away from qualifying on his ACT score. He's narrowed his choices to 10 schools, but 4 are clearly the front runners: Notre Dame, Penn State, Florida, and Florida State. For Kevin, choosing a college is just one step towards his ultimate goal.
Well, it's going to be real hard to leave home. But in my case, it's just something that if I want to reach my goal, I guess I have to leave home.
And your goal is?
To play in the NFL.
And for his mother, having a son with such goals is just fine. Because no matter what he does, her son will always be tops with her, even if some don't consider him the best in the nation.
Hundreds of thousands across the country that play in that position. And your son's number 2.
I feel great about that. I really do. He's mine. I mean, I'm proud of him.
Would you like to know who number 1 is?
No. No. He's my number 1.
We are getting closer and closer to that big game in the small town of Carencro, Louisiana. And as you can see right now, we are literally in the heart of the bayou. This is Cajun country. It's time now for our SSA Honor Roll. And you want to look at a distinctly Cajun character, then just look at Casey Longenet. How's that for a name? Great football player, plays for the Bears. Even better grades.
After getting to know the Bears, it is hard to imagine that many of their games will be decided by a field goal. But should that be the case, Casey Longenet is the man. But ask this physics nut which he'd rather do, win a football game with his foot or ace all his tests, and he'll tell you.
Well, I would like to do both. I would like to be in a position to win a game for us, but the tradition at Carencro High is we don't usually have a lot of close games. When we win by 2 or 3 touchdowns. So
far, this 6'2" senior hasn't had any trouble doing both, kicking it through the uprights and getting it right in the classroom. A perfect 4.0 student, Casey isn't sure whether or not he wants to continue kicking in college. What he does know is this: an education, not football, will be with him for life, and he looks forward to the challenge. Heck, all you got to do is ask him about physics, and he lights up.
Physics combines math, which I really like math, and I like to build things and solve problems. And in physics, we always have experiments. The experiment we have now is you have to build a submarine out of a 2-liter Coke bottle. Make it go down, pick up this little disc off the bottom of a tub, come back up, go across the tub, and drop the disc back on the target.
Not exactly your typical project. Then again, Casey Longenet is not your typical student. He is definitely smarter than your average bear. I mean, hey, he even gets the girl.
Ah, boy, no matter whether he's got a 4.0, no matter whether he can hit a 50-yarder, he's just like every other guy. She's cute.
Thank you.
Now, that's what I call a smart kicker. The Honor Roll is brought to you by McDonald's. What you want is what you get at McDonald's today. I got to tell you, we heard that somebody was working out in here an hour after the team gets through working out. What are you doing in here working out?
I'm just working out to better myself so I can be better. Champions are not born, they are made.
And so you're making yourself into a champion. Is that the mentality of Carencro football?
Yes, sir. It's hard work. That's what it is. That's what makes the champion. Champions are not born, they are made.
You know, most of the small towns here in Louisiana are agricultural communities. Quite frankly, a lot of them grow sugarcane. Of course, the byproduct there being sugar, one of the sweetest things on your kitchen table. And speaking of sweet, all you got to do is drive a little bit north of Carencro to the city of Monroe to find one of the sweetest running backs in the entire country. Jamie Spencer is his name. And man, is this guy big.
248 pounds of muscle, 4.47 in the 40. Look out, Emmitt Smith, the #1 running back in Louisiana. And you can catch him on LA 25A.
You take an intelligent back with all the skills that he's got. I don't believe I've ever had one just like him.
I'm going to turn the ball up, and I'm going to run north and south all the time, you know. Being behind that, you know, I still can go out in the flash, catch a pass, you know, and make something happen there, so.
Take a good look, America. Monroe, Louisiana's Jamie and Spencer is coming, and you don't want to get in his way. In Ouachita High's first game this year, Jamie rushed for 210 yards and punched in 4 TDs. Is he being recruited? Well, is the earth round?
The phone rang, and I picked it up, and I said, hello, you know, and I said, you know, is this Jamie? And I was like, yeah. He said, well, this is Lou Holtz at the University of Notre Dame, but he wasn't at South Bend. He was, I think, in New York or somewhere. And at first I kind of laughed it off because I didn't really believe him.
Football is only one part of the Spencer package. In the classroom, has a 3.7 grade average. He's a student. He's an athlete. Can we bottle this guy?
If we could raise our own son to be like Jamie Spencer, that's the way you'd want him to be. And to me, I can't compliment him any more than that because I think he's the ideal young man that I would love for my son or anybody else's son to come up and be like Jamie Spencer.
Opposing coaches won't be able to stop him, and containing him may only happen on the chalkboard. If your travels take you through Monroe this fall, check out the kid they call the Mule Train. The SSA Hometown Hero is brought to you by Coca-Cola Classic. Always the real thing, always Coca-Cola.
Guys, have fun. Let's go. Let's get it done.
For the past 4 days, we have followed the fans here in Carencro, and from what we have heard, we're about ready to experience a football game unlike any we have ever experienced before. The rain has begun to come down. The crowd is ready to roar, and from what we've heard, the bear is about to growl. It is kickoff time in Carencro.
Oh, yeah!
Against L.W. Higgins, Carencro lived up to the #1 ranking, and Kevin Faulk lived up to the hype. Like Coach Baruch told us, he's a touchdown waiting to happen.
You are now 1-0. Or so it appears.
Not yet. We're almost there. We got another half to play. Anything can happen.
And anything could happen. Just ask Collis Chapman, our weightlifting junior. A knee injury put him out of the game and possibly out for the season.
Once a Bear, always a Bear?
Yes, sir. Always a Bear.
And you'll be back.
I ain't did all this hard work for nothing.
Up 51 points in the second half. Carencro looked sloppy at times.
All right, what happened on second down when you tried to knock the tailback down with the toss? And you didn't let him get set before you snapped it?
But the outcome was never in doubt. In the pouring rain, Carencro and Kevin Faulk shine.
All right.
51-14 Bears. Lights out for another Crow opponent.
What do you think of the family now? It's family.
We consider it to be a family because we hold ourselves together and we keep our composure and we have nothing but love on the field between all us, the players and the coaches.
And so we have finally experienced what the folks in Carencro told us we would. What are the Bears? Well, I think, quite frankly, after 4 days and a long rainy night, we have found out that the Bears are family. Until next week, I'm Dan Debenham. Make sure and join us next week when we head off to some of the finest basketball camps that the summer had to offer. Nike, ABCD. It is all coming up next week right here on SSA. Until then, I'm Dan Debenham. So long, everybody, from Carencro.